Back in 2016, Domantas Sabonis was taken 11th overall in the NBA draft. And fast forward to today, he's become one of the best big men in the league, who epitomizes the skill set of a modern big man. Averaging almost 20 points, 13 rebounds and almost 8 assists, while shooting almost 60% from the field and 37.5% from 3, the multiple-time All-Star has proved he can do almost everything on the court. That being said, how come he wasn't taken earlier? And this question becomes even more valid once we consider the underwhelming careers of many players selected before him. With that said, let's take a look at the 10 players drafted before Domantas Sabonis and see where they are now. Welcome to Sportsphere. Let's get into it. The first pick of the 2016 NBA draft, Ben Simmons, has experienced a career of highs and lows. After being out for the entire season he was drafted, Ben came back and won Rookie of the Year with Philly, also having team success alongside Joel Embiid. And as he continued to ascend as a rising star in the league, it wouldn't be without controversy. Because, see, Ben Simmons could not shoot to save his life, and he also proved to have a bad attitude about it. Ben soon became a locker room menace at Philly after securing a big contract, and would proceed to request a trade, eventually seeing himself on the Brooklyn Nets. Since then, it's become obvious that Simmons does not love basketball, and after securing a 5-year, $177 million deal, he no longer had motivation to play his hardest and win games. After his trade to Brooklyn, he would oftentimes claim sorry excuses like back soreness and not even play, which is also precisely why he's become one of the most hated NBA players. Since securing a deal in 2019, it's no secret his output has decreased almost every single season. And last season with the Nets, in 42 games he averaged 7 points, just over 6 rebounds and 6 assists. And despite still having the physical tools and ability to become a good NBA player, it's all up to Ben Simmons himself to make it happen. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. As for the second pick of the 2016 draft, things were much more smooth sailing for Brandon Ingram's career. And despite a somewhat slow start with the young Lakers team early, B.I. was soon moved to the Pelicans in the Anthony Davis deal. And this proved to be the exact change of scenery required to propel him to the next level. Although Ingram showed signs of a good 3-level scorer with the Lakers, averaging 19 points and shooting almost 50% from the field in his third season, his move to the Pelicans saw his points per game number jump to almost 24 points in the following season, also improving his 3-point shooting dramatically. Since then, he's become the cornerstone of the Pelicans franchise and their most reliable player, also developing other areas of his game like his passing. Now the next step for Ingram and the Pelicans is finding more playoff success, as well as making sure Zion sticks to his diet. As for the third pick, Jaylen Brown, after being selected by the Boston Celtics, his career trajectory looked quite similar to that of Ingram. In his first couple years with Boston, he showed great signs of a two-way guard, still with untapped potential. And by his fourth season with Boston, he averaged almost 20 points and 6 rebounds, while shooting over 48% from the field and 38% from 3. Not to mention, the Boston Celtics team seemed to be a contending team every season, with the Celtics drafting Tatum in the 2017 draft, creating a great young duo. Although there was a lot of talk around the NBA claiming the pair of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown would not work, due to them both being ball-dominant players. But in the 2021-22 season, they would finally make it to the NBA Finals, after coming close multiple times. Despite losing to the Warriors in 6, this gave hope the pair could potentially win a championship in the near future, as they now continue to hunt for their first chip with the Celtics. Anyways, this season so far has seen a slight decline in some statistics for Jaylen Brown. However, it's only natural, considering the new additions of Porzingis and Drew Holiday over the offseason. And now this Boston team seems like they're the only ones that can stop themselves from winning a championship in the next few years. As for the fourth pick of the 2016 NBA draft, Dragan Bender, coming out of the Israeli Premier League, became the highest picked player in this draft that is currently out of the NBA. Selected by the Phoenix Suns, Bender quickly became probably the biggest bust of the draft. Seen as a stretch forward with good defensive versatility, Bender proved to be basically none of this, meeting up to none of his prior expectations. His defensive impact was limited from the jump, with the athleticism and size of the NBA seemingly being too much for Bender to handle. And after just 3 seasons with the Suns, they finally gave up on him, before short stints on the Bucks and Warriors, only to move back to Maccabi Tel Aviv in the 2020-2021 season. Once seen as a future Eurostar, Bender added himself to a list of high European draft picks that proved to disappoint. Similarly to the first pick Ben Simmons, Chris Dunn has also embarked on a career of highs and lows. Drafted by the Timberwolves with the 5th overall pick, Dunn was seen as a great two-way guard with good size who could also play make. And although he proved to be great defensively early, his offense wasn't as great. This saw the Timberwolves trade him after just his rookie season, where he landed himself on the Chicago Bulls with a bigger role. With the Bulls, he also greatly increased his offensive output and shooting splits, and in his second season in the league, he averaged 13.4 points, 6 assists and 4.3 rebounds, shooting 43% from the field and 32% from 3, as well as getting 2 steals per game. Although still not a standout offensive talent, Dunn was the dog kind of player that could do it all on the basketball court, and that any team would benefit from having on their team. That being said, after just 2 more seasons with the Bulls and failing to improve areas of his game like his shooting, he was traded to the Hawks for the 2020-21 season. However, after this move, a series of ankle and knee injuries saw him play just 4 games with the Hawks, and lingering issues continued to plague Dunn as he moved to the Blazers and then Utah. Now on the Utah Jazz, Dunn has played most of the season thus far and is playing limited bench minutes, but is still making his presence felt on all areas. And despite the ups and downs, hopefully Dunn can maintain good health and become a great role player in time to come. As for the 6th pick of the 2016 NBA draft, Buddy Hield solidified himself as a top 3-point shooter in the league, not long after entering the NBA. However, thus far, he's not proven to be too much more than that. Originally selected by New Orleans, after a decent rookie season with the Pelicans, he was moved to the Kings, and it wouldn't take long for Buddy to show his ridiculous 3-point shooting, especially with catch and shoot threes. In his first 3 seasons with Sacramento, he shot over 43% from 3, and he peaked offensively in his 3rd season, where he averaged over 20 points. However, other than 3-point shooting, Buddy didn't excel in any other aspect. Seemingly not having the motivation to improve his overall ability, the years that followed saw a decline in overall offensive output for Buddy Hield, also seeing him soon move to Indiana in a Sabonis-Halliburton trade. Although Buddy continued to play his role, shooting great from 3, and also staying healthy, his lack of versatility became more obvious as time went on. And this season so far has seen him play more limited minutes, despite still doing his thing. Although still a good player, as a 31-year-old, we've likely seen the peak of Buddy Hield already. Picked up by the Denver Nuggets 7th overall, Jamal Murray is one of the few players in this draft to win an NBA championship. Jamal quickly established himself as a promising point guard in his rookie season, showing potential of a good all-round player. And it was his sophomore season where he truly broke out, averaging almost 17 points on 45% from the field and almost 37% from 3. Over his first few seasons, he continued to improve, playing an integral role in the young Nuggets squad that was full of potential, even making it to the Western Conference Finals in 2020. That being said, a tragic ACL tear during the 2020-21 season sidelined him for an indefinite amount of time, but everyone knew a long recovery was coming. Anyways, fast forward to the 2022-23 season was when Jamal Murray finally returned to the Nuggets, and he had a redemption season like no other, averaging 20 points per game on impressive shooting and contributing as a second option on a first-seed Nuggets team behind Nikola Jokic. And when the 2023 playoffs came, the Denver Nuggets took things to the next level. They proceeded to send home the Minnesota Timberwolves, then the Phoenix Suns, then the Lakers, and finally the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals, all while losing 5 games in total. Although Murray was good in the regular season, his playoff performances were even better, averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds and 5 assists, and shooting over 40% from 3 in the 19 games he played in the playoffs. From missing an entire season due to a grueling injury to winning an NBA championship in the following season is a feat achieved by very few. As for the 8th pick Marquise Chris, he is also out of the NBA after seeing stints on 5 different teams in 6 seasons. After 2 average seasons as a forward with the struggling Phoenix Suns, he moved to the Rockets, Cavs, Warriors and Mavericks in just 4 seasons. Although he did have one decent season in the league, with the Warriors averaging over 9 points and almost 55% from the field, in the following year, a broken leg early in the season would see him miss most of the season entirety. The 9th pick Jakob Poeltl, drafted by the Raptors, he began his career with promise as a decent big man, but not much more. After 2 seasons with the Raptors, he was moved to the Spurs, seeing him develop from a bench big man to a starting big man. His time at the Spurs also saw his peak in career statistically, where in the 2021-22 season, he averaged over 13 points on almost 62% from the field and over 9 rebounds. And after another season with the Spurs, he would see himself on the Raptors once again, joining the team that drafted him 7 years ago. A role-playing big man and nothing more, Poeltl was still embarked on a decent NBA career thus far. As for the 10th overall pick of the draft, Thon Maker, he was seen as a gifted basketball talent, especially on the defensive end. However, this proved to be the furthest from the truth. And after 9 years on 6 teams, the NBA eventually gave up on him, with his exact strength proving to be a weakness. Having come straight out of high school to the NBA scouts got one thing wrong. Although he was seen as a great rim protector and versatile defender, he proved to get dominated on the NBA level as a defender and rim protector, proving to simply be too weak for the NBA. As for offensively, he also struggled, unable to finish in the paint consistently, even as a 7-footer. As time went on, although showing some signs of improvement, he simply couldn't improve quick enough, seeing him out the NBA by the 2020-21 season, where he's now playing in China. As we know, after Thon Maker was selected at 10th overall, it would be Domantas Sabonis selected 11th overall by the Orlando Magic and quickly traded to the OKC Thunder. And after 1 season with the Thunder, he would be traded to the Pacers in a move involving Paul George, and he would show improvements in almost every year ever since. Now on the Sacramento Kings, he's become a top big man in the league and a multiple-time All-Star, and there's no doubt his mind is now set on achieving more playoff success. Thanks for watching Sportsphere. See you in the next video.